All right, so we are going to get started. So, if you have completed the paperwork and you are ready to upload documents and complete your commissions tab, that is some of the those are some of the items we're going to go over today. So, to get started, if you have already completed your documents, so meaning you've created your opportunity, you've gone into DocuSign or Dotloop, and the forms are all fully executed. So the clients have signed, you have signed, everything is good to go. We're going to be at that point today so that we can upload documents and complete the commission tab. As we're going through everything, guys, if you have questions, please feel free to unmute or type in the chat box, and I will answer anything as we go. Because sometimes if we've already moved past that point, I might not know where you're referring to, so just make sure you unmute and just start talking. So to get started, hopefully everyone can see my screen. And if you can't, please unmute and let me know. But you should log into Command. That's the first step. So again, you know how to get to Command, but it's agent.kw.com. And when you log into Command, you're going to navigate into the opportunity. So if you've already created the opportunity, you can either access it through the contact section or through your opportunity section. So if we go through contacts, we can navigate to a specific contact and go into opportunities. If we go into the opportunities dashboard, this handshake icon, we can go to all opportunities and we can search for the property. Either way will work. I prefer going through the contact record, but I know a lot of people like coming to all opportunities. If you haven't created the opportunity, well, that's the first step so that you can get to your documents. So to create an opportunity, you're clicking on Create Opportunity on the upper right, and you're filling in this form to create the opportunity. If you are on the coaching team, you'll see the productivity coaching team in the team field. You still own this opportunity, but you're a part of the team where they can assist you, Cassie, David, and Bob. You're going to fill out anything with a red asterisk in these sections, and then you're going to create the opportunity. Once you click on create, that's going to bring you into the opportunity. So I'm going to navigate into the opportunity, and it's going to pull up the details screen of the opportunity. The more details you put into this detail section, the better, because it feeds over to your DocuSign or Dotloop. So if you're clicking on these small pencils, the more info you're plugging in will help you in the long run. But at this point, when we're prepping to get paid, all of this will have already been done. You would have created the opportunity, you would have gone to documents, added the checklist or picked the checklist, and then you would have clicked on Start a Transaction or Go to Transaction. So at this point, you already have the checklist built out. If you don't and you bypass this, then you want to go in and you want to pick between residential or land so you have the correct checklist. Does everyone follow so far? Does anyone have questions about how we navigated into an opportunity or created the opportunity? Okay, all right, we're going to proceed. So now at this point, you're going to see, depending upon the transaction, whether it's a listing, a buyer, or a rental, you're going to see the different checklists. So the document checklists are built into Command. We no longer have paper checklists because it's all right here in Command for you. So in here, when I selected this original opportunity, it is a listing opportunity. So when I selected the checklist, I selected residential because it's a residential home. And I'm going to see that there's a listed, under contract, and closed. So 3 folders that I need to upload documents to. If we click on the listed folder, you're going to see that you have a full list of all of the documents that are required, conditionally required, or optional. Conditionally required does not mean that they're optional. Conditionally required means that based on that transaction, you may or may not need that document. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it's that conditional, that just, I didn't need to upload it. That's not what that means. Most of the time, you are going to need those documents that do say conditional. So you'll notice that there's different columns within this checklist. There's status, there's requirement, document, type, and over here would be the file. So the status, if you haven't uploaded anything, it will say not uploaded, much like it does right now because we haven't uploaded anything. Then you'll see the requirements, so you'll know if it's required, conditionally required, or optional. And then you'll see the document name so that you know when you get into DocuSign what documents you need for this checklist. The type of document, so that's just what we call the document. So if it's a disclosure, a consumer notice in this system is considered a disclosure because you're disclosing the information. So if it's a listing contract, it's just called a contract. So this type really isn't relevant for what you need to do in this section, but we are required to put a type. Then the file section, you'll notice right now it says file and there's these drop downs. The reason for these drop downs is right up here on this bar, it says attach files from and then working folder. So when you go to the attach files from drop down, you can select between My Computer and DocuSign. If you're selecting My Computer, you're uploading from your computer. So that means you would have scanned the documents to your email and then saved them to your computer. When you do that, then you would browse for the document and upload it. So just like if you're uploading a document to an email, you're going to click on what's the paperclip in the email. You're going to click on this browse with the folder, and then you're going to find the document that you need to upload within your computer. For the most part, since we're using electronic signature, you're most likely going to select between DocuSign or dotloop in this attach files from drop-down menu. So in this instance, I'm using DocuSign, so I'm attaching files from DocuSign. When you select DocuSign, you actually get an additional folder. You get the working folder. So the working folder, you would select Room Docs because those are the documents within the room that you've had electronically signed. So before I move forward, any questions on how I got those drop-down menus or any of these columns or any of this screen at all? All right. So once we do this, now keep in mind, guys, we're acting as if the documents have already been signed by all parties. So now the only documents you're going to see in this dropdown when I select DocuSign or dotloop and Room Docs would be signed documents. So you're not going to see 3 different versions of an agreement of sale. You're only going to see the signed versions. So when you go to this drop-down menu where it says Consumer Notice, you're going to see that any documents that have been signed are going to be listed here. Now, the one thing I like to mention is when we're in here, you're also going to see any certifications. A lot of people don't know what the certifications are. Anytime you send something for electronic signature through DocuSign or dotloop, you get a certification page, meaning that it is certified and signed with e-signature. So anytime when you come in here, you're going to have certifications if you sent a loop out for signature or an envelope in DocuSign. So you're never going to have to upload those, so you can leave them as is, but you're going to see the other documents that have been loaded in here that are signed. So you can scroll through this list or you can type in the name of the document. So if I click out of there and go back to the dropdown, you'll see that there's a cursor right here that you can actually start typing the name of the document so you don't have to scroll through all those documents, and you can select the signed document. And it will load directly into the placeholder, and I loaded it into the addendums, but so it rearranged my documents. Come on. There we go. So if you didn't mean to upload a document there, you'll notice that now that's in the wrong placeholder, and I'm glad it happened, so now you guys know what to do. When that happens, before you submit, you're going to click on these 3 dots, and you can actually remove a document. Now, you can only remove a document if you haven't submitted to the office. If you've already submitted, that remove button becomes a replace button. So I'm glad that happened because you can see that you can actually remove documents as well from this section before we submit. But again, if we're looking to just upload the documents to their specific placeholder, and this row that we're seeing with this document is a placeholder. So if we go to where it says select, you can either scroll through the documents or you can start typing in the name of the document and selecting the signed document. So as you can see now where the consumer notice placeholder is, rather than what we just had happen, you can see the consumer notice placeholder and you can see the document that has been loaded. Any questions so far on that, guys? How we loaded that document or how we were able to also remove the document if need be?
All good, Colleen.
Thank you. And I know some of you just jumped on, so we're actually in an opportunity on the documents section, and we're going through how to upload and then submit. So again, if by mistake I put this document in the wrong placeholder, we can click on those three dots and click on remove, and it will be removed from that placeholder. But I get this question a lot, and that remove button is only there because I have not submitted to the office yet. So now you're going to go through and you're going to upload every signed document. So we're going to go through and we're going to select the ones that we need to, and we're going to scroll and we're going to see, okay, affiliate services disclosure. Do I have that signed? Yes, I do. And again, I can type in the name and it will populate just that form. I like typing it in. I think it saves time rather than scrolling through all the documents, but some agents like to scroll all the way through. So it's entirely up to you which way you want to do it. Then you're going to select the signed document. And as you can see, the name of the document is there, and then it will have a dash signed, and it's the PDF version. So it's not the e-signature version, it's the PDF once everything's been fully executed. So you're going to upload each of those documents, and then I'm going to go to the listing contract and do the signed version of that. So you're going to do this for every document that's required or conditionally required, and optional if it pertains to that contract. So we're going through and we're uploading each document. As you can see over here under status, now that I've uploaded those documents, it will say uploaded instead of not uploaded. Now we're going to go through, you're going to upload every single thing that you need to. Once you upload everything, at that point, once everything that's required or conditionally required is uploaded here, with the exception of addendums. So if you don't have any addendums yet, you don't need to upload them. But anything that's required or conditionally required, you're going to upload. And then right up here on the upper right, you're going to submit to MC. And the MC stands for Market Center. So you're submitting it to the office for compliance review. And again, that's when all documents have been signed by all parties. You've uploaded them and submitted them for review. You're not waiting until closing to submit your listing and under contract folders when you're submitting your close folder. You're submitting early and often as possible. Because if the real estate commission were to come in tomorrow and need to see specific documents for a transaction and you haven't uploaded them, you're going to get a call from Bob Hay, and it's not going to be a good one because the real estate commission would be here. So you have to make sure that you're uploading all of your documents in a timely manner. Now, most of the people on this call have always done it, and we appreciate that. But there are certain agents that wait until the property closes and try to submit everything. And the downside to that is if you're submitting your listing documents after you've closed and you missed an initial or a signature or something on the forms, you have to go back to those clients after they've closed, everything's said and done, and get those initials or signatures. It doesn't look good for you, and we want to make you look great so they come back and continue to work with you and refer other clients to you. So if you're submitting when the listing documents are all fully executed and submitting to the Market Center so that we can let you know if you did miss something and you can go back to the client, that is the best option. Now that's the listing folder. Now you get an agreement of sale, an offer on the property, and you want to submit the under contract documents. You're going to go to under contract, and you're going to do the same thing that we just did with the listed folder in the under contract folder. So you're going to go in, you're going to click on under contract. You're going to see that there are all the placeholders with, again, those columns that say status, requirement, document, type, and file. And it works the same way. So anything conditionally, you're going to upload if it's a part of that contract. You'll only see the signed versions in the file dropdown. So you're going to select just the signed version of the agreement of sale, the pre-qual, which most likely would just be a PDF in your email. You're going to upload a copy of that. And you're going to go through and upload everything that is necessary for the transaction. Now, the under contract folder is a little bit different because you may not have the resale cert receipt. You may not have the reply to inspections yet. If you don't have a few of those documents, you should still submit to the office ahead of time. So as soon as you have the documents ready to go, with the exception of the resale cert, any addendums, or the reply to inspections, you're going to submit to the office. Because we want to make sure that everything is good to go for when you're headed towards closing. So that if anything's missing, you know right away and you can get those initial signatures or any addendums taken care of. So you're going through this full list, and it looks like a lot when you initially get in here, but it's not as bad as it seems. So you're going to go through and you're going to upload the agreement of sale, the pre-qual or proof of funds, the seller's disclosure that's signed by the buyer. A lot of people like to upload without the signatures from the buyer, and you have to have it uploaded. The addendums, any addendums that come through, the affiliate services addendum, estimated costs, and that should be updated based on the price. So a lot of people keep the old listing seller's estimated cost, but once you have the sales price, you should be updating the updated seller's estimated closing costs and uploading it. You do have to have a copy of the deposit check. So not everything is a check anymore though. So we have that e-checks come in. So e-checks get emailed to me for escrow deposits. We have earnest deposits, we have wires. So if you don't get a check, that's okay because you're going to get a screenshot. I email you a screenshot when the escrow deposit comes through. So if it's a wire or if it's an earnest deposit, you're going to get a screenshot that you're going to download that email and upload into this place. So just because it says copy a deposit check doesn't mean it's just the deposit check. It's the deposit, whatever form it comes in. Now, you may have to switch if you're uploading this from your computer by going up here to that attach files from, because it's not going to be in DocuSign. You're going to go to the drop down and do a manual upload from your computer. Then you're going to keep scrolling down. You're going to do the lead-based paint, the receipt of docs, if and when you have it, if it's necessary for the transaction. Any inspection reports that you have. So if there are inspections, we need the inspection reports uploaded. The wire fraud notice, the buyer's reply to inspections, dual agency. So if it's a dual agency, you do need to upload the form. The escrow deposit form, the escrow request form. Now, some of these might be sent electronically for the escrow request form. If you're requesting an e-check, you do get a receipt for that when you submit it. So you would download that and upload it here. They are optional now because of the e-checks, because we don't want to give you guys extra work to do. But if you have a copy, you want to upload it. There's the change in terms reply to inspection signed by seller and buyer, and the cooperating broker compensation agreement. So you're going to upload anything that's required or conditionally required. Once you upload all of those signed documents, you're submitting to the Market Center. Any questions on that section? So while it's basically the same as listing, there are some more documents that you have to upload here. Okay. All right. Again, guys, if you have questions, please unmute, type in the chat box, let me know. Not seeing anything in chat so far, but if anybody needs anything, let me know. All right, so now we're gonna go to closed. So, woohoo, you had your closing. Now you need to submit everything so that you can get paid. So now we're going to go to the closed folder, and you're going to see, again, there are documents that need to be uploaded. So the settlement statement CD HUD needs to be uploaded. So a fully executed version needs to be uploaded here. Sometimes signatures and different things are not on the documents. The preliminary ones are uploaded, and that's not what we need. We need the fully executed and signed versions. So you want to upload that version here. So again, you're selecting from the dropdown. If you uploaded it to DocuSign, if you just scanned it to yourself and it's in your email, you're attaching the file from your computer. Then the copy of the commission check, you're going to go in and you're going to scan that to yourself, and whether it's in DocuSign or your computer, you're going to select it and upload it. The walkthrough form needs to be uploaded. The internal settlement information form. A lot of people don't know what that is. It is available in your DocuSign and your dotloop. So if you click on this, it actually shows you a preview of what that looks like. And got to get that updated. But in here, you're going to see the form that needs to be filled out when you have your closing. You have to attach your check to it. And we don't need a copy of the HUD anymore. That's why I'm going to update this form. But if you go through, you're going to fill in the property address, your name, the seller's name, the buyer's name, the title company, the lender. Then you're going to add in the amount of the check that you received and the check number. Also, you're going to do the date of which the closing happened, and then the contract sales price. If there are any changes to the opportunity, if the percentage that you're being paid changed, if there's a referral or you need to be reimbursed for bold, you're going to add any changes to the opportunity right here. So that is an additional form that we do need submitted with your commission checks. From there are a few additional forms if there are referrals on the transaction. So if there is an agent, let's say in California, that referred this client to you that needs to be paid, we need the referral form that's fully executed. We need the W-9 for that office so that we can pay them. That has the tax ID number, and that is the only way we can pay that referral out. Those forms have to be uploaded here. And then last but not least, there are DA sheets. A DA sheet is a disbursement authorization. So it's actually uploaded by myself or the front desk staff, and they upload it after you have closed. So when we have paid you, this is a breakdown of how you're being paid. So you get this after closing so that you can see the full breakdown of how much company dollar you paid, how much royalty. If there was a referral, you can see the referral removed. If you're getting reimbursed for bold, you'll see that on there as well. So you can see everything there is on the DA sheet. It's a breakdown of how you've been paid. So if you notice any discrepancies, that's when you can come back to me and say, listen, I'm not seeing the referral being paid out, and we can have a discussion and figure out why. Now, most of the time, there's not going to be a referral or anything, so it's going to be fairly easy to upload the settlement statement, HUD, ALTA, the copy of the commission check, the walkthrough form, and the internal form. Once you upload those documents, then you're going to submit to the Market Center. So guys, you could be submitting between 2 and 12 times. So it really depends. If there's mistakes, then you have to upload the replacement documents. If there's not mistakes, then great, you're just waiting so that you can submit as the process moves along. But you have to make sure you're submitting when it's listed, when it's under contract, and when it closes. And if you have the buyer side, you need to submit when it's under contract and closed. Rental, same thing. Once you have the fully executed documents, you're uploading them and submitting them. If you have both sides of your transaction, you're going to have 2 opportunities for the transaction. You're going to have a listing opportunity and a buyer opportunity, and you're going to upload documents to both. So far, any questions on uploading and submitting to the office? Okay. So now let's say that you submit the documents. So I'm going to submit. When you submit, it's going to ask you this question. Are you sure you want to submit for review? Avoid delay in approval by ensuring all attached documents are accurate. Contact your MC, Market Center, if you have any questions. So then you're going to submit. When you submit, the status will change from open to submitted. When it's submitted, our compliance team will review the documents. Once they review the documents, they'll either approve them or return them. If a document is returned or documents are returned, you're going to get a note within Command. And those notes come to you via email, push notifications in the app, and on this notification bell. So you'll know if there's any mistakes with the file. Now, if there are some issues with the documents, if signatures are missed, if just anything is incorrect on the documents and they're returned, you're going to have a message in here. So there'll be a message bubble right here indicating what is missed. Now you can reply to the compliance person or add a comment ahead of time by clicking on Add Comment right here. When you click on Add Comment, you want to tag who you're aiming the message to. If you don't add the @ symbol with the person's name, they don't get a notification of the message. So a lot of times people will be like, listen, I sent a message off to the compliance team. They haven't responded. And we look at the notes and it's because no one was tagged. So we don't know that the note came through. By putting the @ symbol and then the person's name, you'll see a full list of the Market Center staff, the OP, the broker team, everyone. You'll be able to choose from this list, and typically it's just going to be myself or Heather. So when you're going through, and Heather is the main person that does all of compliance. So what you're going to do if you're looking to reply to her or send her a message about the file, you're going to type in the @ symbol and then start typing her name and selecting her. And then you can write a note to her. And then when you add the reply, she'll get a notification that for this example, this is a test. So then over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see the bubble right here, the chat bubble, so that you can comment back and forth and interact with anyone that sent you a message about the file. This is really helpful if you have a difficult transaction and a certain form the broker team approved you not having to use. She's not going to know that, and neither am I. So you could put a note ahead of time when you're submitting so that we don't even ask for that form. It's not typical, but every now and then, if it happens, you can add a note ahead of time. Any questions on adding comments into this section? You guys are making it really easy today. All right, so now that is how you upload documents and submit them to the office. And again, you're submitting multiple times. You're making sure they're submitted early and often so we can get them approved so you're on track for closing. Now, the one thing I'll mention, there is a section here for custom folders. We do not review custom folders. So if you go in and add a listing folder in here, we're not going to review it. We only review listed, under contract and closed, or under contract and closed. So keep in mind, if you're sitting there waiting to get paid or anything and you know you uploaded to the custom folder, we are not going into those. This is somewhere that you can create a custom folder for maybe email correspondence. If you had a difficult transaction and you want to keep all the emails in one place, you can upload copies of those emails in the custom folder, but we're not reviewing any of them. So now, once that's all done, you've submitted documents. Now you're ready, either when you're under contract, you can create the offers and commissions tab, or when you've closed. Some teams like to wait until it's closed, but we recommend submitting the offers and commissions as early as possible so that it's ready to be reviewed and paid out as soon as possible. So in here, once you've submitted your documents, let's say you waited until closing to do your offers and commissions, you've uploaded the documents for the closing. Now you're ready to go to offers and commissions. So a lot of people will ask, well, why do I have to even submit the offers and commissions? I gave you my commission check, can't you just pay it out? Unfortunately, no. We need the offers and commissions tab because if there's a referral, if there's an inside referral, meaning let's say Janine referred business to me, then I need to pay her 25%. That needs to be added to the offers and commissions because there are certain things that we won't know about when we're paying things out. So you have to make sure that the offers and commissions tab is completed. The offers and commissions tab is solely for what you're being paid on. We don't care if there's money that went to Remax. That doesn't matter to us. What matters is the breakdown of what you're getting paid. So now we're going to jump into offers and commissions. As I'm going through, I know this part can get a little confusing. So as I'm going through, if you have questions, please unmute or type in the chat. So we're going to click on offers and commissions. And it's going to say offer timeline. We have to click on add new offer. It's a formality. We have to go through the offers portion to get to the commission breakdown. So you're going to click on add new offer. And it's going to bring you to this create new offer section. This part has been very difficult for a lot of people because what they are trying to do is just type in this property address section. There's an easier way to go about it, so I'm going to go over that now. But before I get to that section, the offer name, leave it as initial offer. You don't need to change it, guys. Now we're going to go into the property address. You can start typing in the address and it will populate. However, when you get to the bottom, when you click on create and accept offer, it doesn't always go through. So what I recommend, rather than typing in the property address in this field, click on select from KWLS. When you click on there, any listings that you have currently on the MLS that are filtering through, actually there's past listings as well in this list at points. But if you have active listings, off-market ones are showing up right now, you can see all of your listings in this list here. You can type in the address up here or the MLS number, and it will search for that property. Now, I know a few of you have come to me and you can't find the listing in this list. For some reason, it's not showing up. When that happens, over here on the right-hand side where it says show, it says show only my listings. If you click on there and select all listings, it should appear. The listing should come up when you search the address. They are trying to figure out at International why sometimes it's only showing up under all listings instead of under only my listings. But for now, we just have to go with it and select all listings and search for the property. Now, if ultimately that listing still is not coming up, guys, you can create what's called an MC exclusive listing. This is a last resort. Hopefully you won't have to do it, but every now and then I have one agent that has this problem and has to create an MC exclusive. So if you click on create MC exclusive, you just have to type in anything with the red asterisk. So as you're going through the listing category, we're going to say that it's for sale. And then the listing agent's name is going to filter in there. You're going to see the listing classification. Well, I'm going to select, let's see, that it's residential. And then the subtype, I'm just going to say that it's a single family detached. Then the expiration date, if you have that, you can fill it in. Current price. And then the street address. And you'll see it starts populating again. But I'm going to bypass that and keep typing so that I can enter in the full information. And then down here, there's a legal disclaimer that you have to read through and then say you understand and agree. So you're gonna accept that and then create and select listing. And every now and then it'll tell me no. So let's see. Okay, so then it created the MC exclusive listing. So now you'll see this address has filtered in. Whether you select from KWLS from that initial panel that shows up, or you create an MC exclusive as a last resort, then you will see the address. Then you have to select anything with a red asterisk you have to fill in. It is required. So you're going to go through the property type and you're going to select between residential, commercial, or land. Typically, for everyone on this call right now, it would be residential or land. So we're going to select residential and then the classification. So if it's a resale, a new home, a multifamily, a lot, a farm, or a ranch. So let's just say for this instance, it's a resale. The total units. This one, a lot of people get hung up on, so I want to clarify. So we are working on the listing side of this transaction. It is one side. So the unit would be 1. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what if I have both sides? You would have a separate opportunity, like we talked about earlier. So you'd have the buyer opportunity. And when you're creating the offers and commissions tab, you're going to have 1 unit on the buyer side because it's 2 sides. So it's 2 units, but you're going to put 1 for each side. Then you're going to scroll down. You're going to see that the seller's name is defaulted in there. So you're going to see that Minnie Mouse is already filled in. Then you're going to see the seller's agent representative. You're going to see your name as the agent filter through here. Then you're going to scroll down and you're going to fill in the buyer name. So you're going to fill in that information. You can fill in the buyer's agent representative. You don't have to, but you can fill it in. Then the terms and dates. So you can put in the full sales price. So let's say that it sold for the full list price. You'll notice that when you fill that in, the finance amount has now updated from $0 to $150,000. Now, if there was cash for part of this transaction or they fully paid cash, you can update this field here with that information. So if I go through, oops. And you'll notice that the finance amount will adjust. Now, if no cash was included, if it was fully financed, you're going to just make sure that there's all zeros in the cash field, and then the finance amount is there. The percentage of the earnest money deposit and the amount are not required to be filled in. There's no red asterisk. You can skip these. Because ultimately, this portion that we're filling in right now, the offer portion, really shouldn't take too long. And that's why only things you want to fill in would be the red asterisk. You can fill in the contract date if you so choose, but you don't have to. I'm going to fill it in. So if we go through, and let's say this went under contract on February 2nd, and let's say we're closing on the 31st of March. So for the closing date, you're going to fill in the closing date as the 31st of March, and then that is it. You can add comments, but you don't have to at this point. There are other sections coming up that you can add notes or comments. So before I create and accept this offer, does anyone have questions about any of the fields that we're filling in here, specifically the property address? Because I know that's a big hang up of a lot of people. Okay, I'm going to move forward then. All right, so once we filled out everything with a red asterisk, we're going to click on Create and Accept Offer. So the page will refresh. You'll get a bunch of pop-ups on the right-hand side with green check marks, just means you're good to go. When you get to this screen, this is the most important part. This is the breakdown of how you're getting paid, guys. So this is the commission breakdown section. Over here on the left, this is where you can fill in and edit the information. On the right-hand side is a summary of everything you're putting in on the left. So now, as we're going through, I'm going to let you know some of the fields that you should never fill in, you should never click on and use because we don't use them at the office. I'm going to show you how to add in an outside referral and do all of the different sections. So any questions on how we got from the offers screen over to this commission screen? All right. Okay, so in this section, when you get to this point, let's say you started the offers and commissions, but you didn't submit yet because you wanted to wait until you're closing. Maybe the sales price has changed. Maybe the commission amount, unfortunately, has changed. What you can do is in these sections, you can update this information. So the first section you're going to see is commission overview. This section will have general information for the sales price, the total units, the contract date, the closing date, and of course the transaction ID, which is just internal. Where it says add contingencies, you're not going to use that button. Don't even click on it. Don't ever use it. No need to. So in this general information section, we're going to click on edit general information. If the sales price has changed, you can adjust it in this field here. If the units have changed, which typically they're not going to because it's one side of the transaction, so you're going to leave it as one. You're going to see that the agent, you as the agent, will be listed here with the unit amount. You can update the unit amount for that agent under update here. Because if you're splitting the unit with someone, maybe somebody's supposed to get 25%, you can update it here, but you don't have to. Then the contract date, that's typically not going to change when you get to this point, but the closing date could. So you can go through and you can update the closing date and then save changes. Then the next section would be the commission information. This is one thing I want to let you guys know right now. Where it says add co-broker, you are never going to use. Even if an outside agent outside of Keller Williams Pocono needs to be paid, you are not using the add co-broker section. There are only a few states within KW's ecosystem that actually use that section. I wish we could turn it off, but we can't. So just please don't use add co-broker. Otherwise, the commission tab will be returned to you. Now, in this section here, where it says commission information, under listing commission, because again, this is a listing side of the transaction. If it were the buyer side, you would see buyer commission. You're going to see commission rate, commission amount, total concession, total bonus, total outside referral. If there is an outside referral, meaning someone outside of Keller Williams Stroudsburg, West End, Milford, Palmerton, Albrightsville, Tannersville, feel like I'm forgetting one, Galligan, Bob Kelly. If anyone outside of those offices needs to be paid on the transaction, you're going to click on Add Outside Referral. So if an agent in Keller Williams Northampton County or Keller Williams Allentown needs to be paid, you're clicking on Add Outside Referral. In this section, you're going to go through and fill in anything with a red asterisk. So you're going to fill in the referral percentage. Typically, from what I've seen, it's 25%. Every now and then, if it's a rental, it could be 50%. So you're going to fill in the referral percentage amount, and you should see that the amount populates for the total over here. And you can adjust accordingly. So if it's 20%, you'll see the amount over here. So really, you don't have to calculate anything in that section. Then you're going to fill in the representative name. So it's the person that is receiving the referral. So it's not Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker or Remax, it's the actual person that's going to get paid on this. So you're going to start typing in the person's name. And as you do, you should start seeing, if they've ever been entered in here, you should start seeing them populate here. If they haven't been entered, you're going to click on Add New Agent. When you click on add new agent, you're going to go through and fill in their phone number, the type of phone number. Their email address isn't required, but you can fill it in. And then their company name. So back on the documents, when we were uploading the W-9 and the referral form, this section is why that's so important, because you're going to need from the W-9 the company name and what they're doing business as. You're going to need their tax ID number, their office or branch nickname. You're going to need their legal name, their address, and their phone number. So that's why in the documents section, it's so important that you upload the referral form and the W-9 so that we can get them paid. Once you include all of the information with the red asterisk, you're going to click on Add Outside Referral. If you've entered in that person or company before, the next time you come in and you start typing it, you're going to see that information start populating. But the first couple times you have to add them in. Does anyone have questions on the Add Outside Referral section? Okay.
Oh,
Sayed, do you? Yes.
No, I didn't have any questions. Just saying you're doing a good job.
Thank you, Syed. I appreciate that. So once you add that outside referral, then you're going to save and close. And when you get back here, you'll see the outside referral. You can edit the listing commission. So if this dollar amount has changed or the percentage, unfortunately it happens, we all know this. So if we go to edit listing commission, you can go through and you can adjust the percentage and the dollar amount. What you'll notice throughout, there are lines that appear that will say commission amount is balanced or unbalanced. If it's balanced, it will be in green. If it's unbalanced, it will be in red. And that just means that you have some adjustments to make sure that the dollar amounts and the percentages all line up and are balanced. So now if the commission amount has changed, let's say, unfortunately, there was some negotiations, things had to change, and now I'm only getting 2.5%. You're going to see now that there is an error message. There's a triangle with the exclamation point and it's in red. Nobody wants to see this. So you're going to see that it says total agent commissions exceed the commission amount by however much it is. In this instance, it's $750. There are two ways that you can update this information. Where your name is, you can update right here, or you can click on Save at the bottom, and you can scroll down to the Agent Payment Breakdown section, and you can click on Edit Agent Payment. When you click on Edit Agent Payment, you're going to go through and you're going to see, okay, agent units, it's still 1, that's good, there's no discrepancy, but wait, there's red here because there's too much money in this field. So you're going to go in and you're going to adjust, and typically the amount's actually going to be right here to help you. So you don't have to calculate anything, and you can type in the amount that should be there. And then it will say $0 left. If there's an outside referral, you're going to see outside referral in here. Now, if that's all that needs to be done, nobody else needs to be paid. You're just going to save at the bottom. Over on the right, you'll be able to see the breakdown of everything we just inputted. And then you can submit. But now wait, let's say you're sitting there and that's right, Janine referred this client to me and I need to get her paid. To do that, because that's an agent within our office, you're going to go to the section where the agent payment is, and you're going to add another agent. Now, a lot of agents try and use the inside referral section. We are never going to use inside referrals. So there are two things that we're, technically three, that we're never going to utilize in these sections. Add co-broker, inside referrals, and add contingencies, you're not going to use. You don't need to. But if there's another agent that needs to be paid, you're clicking on add another agent, and you're going to type in the agent's name, because this is an agent within our Keller Williams Pocono ecosystem. So when I start typing in the person's name that needs to receive the referral, I'm going to select them. And again, it's only agents within our office. So we're going to select that individual and then type in the amount of units. So if they're supposed to receive 25%, we're going to type in the 25%, so 0.25. But it's going to say in red that, wait, you've already distributed that amount, so we'll have to go back and adjust Cassie's portion. So if we cancel out, we're going to go in and edit the agent payment. And I know this part is confusing, so if anyone has questions, let me know. You're going to go under agent units and you're going to adjust, whoops, if my keyboard wants to work, it doesn't want to do it. There we go. Okay, so you're going to see 75%, but you'll notice that the dollar amount has not adjusted. So you will have to, unfortunately, even with the update to the system, you now have to calculate that. So you're going to go in and you're going to adjust, okay, so it's 0.75. So it's $2,812. That should be in here. And you're going to see that there's this amount left to distribute, and that would go to Janine for the referral. Because again, it's internal referral, it's not an outside referral. As we scroll down, you're going to see that you do have other options. Bold Scholarship, transaction fees are all defaulted in there. If you want to donate to KW Cares or KW NextGen, you could add that in here. If there's another deduction, you can just let me know. You don't have to add deduction here, and you're never going to use add inside referral. So then once you've adjusted this, you're going to save. What's going to happen though, you won't be able to submit because you haven't added Janine in for the other 25%. So you're going to go to add another agent and you're going to type in 0.25, and then the system is letting you know how much is left. You can always calculate it to be sure, but then you can type it in and $0, you're good to go. Everything looks balanced. If there were an outside referral, you'd be able to see that amount in here. And then you'd scroll down and save. What you'll notice is when I added the other agent, whoop, didn't type in Janine's name. You'll see in here that you're not going to be able to know what they want to donate to KW Cares or anything, so leave that blank, and then you can save at the bottom. So now everything is balanced, and you can see the breakdown over here on the right-hand side. So the commission amount, the co-broker, bonus, concession, outside referral, pay to office, pay to agents, you can see everything. So the company dollar that you're paying in, the royalty. You can also go to the payment breakdown section here, and you can see all of that and see how close you are to capping, etc. in there. If there's a note that you need to include that I need to see based on this transaction, there is a notes section right here that you can plug in. If everything looks good to go, then you are going to submit to the office. What you'll notice is next to summary, it will say open until it's submitted. Then it will be submitted and either approved or returned. If it's returned, it could be that you added a co-broker, did an inside referral, or you indicated there's an outside referral but didn't include the information for the outside referral. So once you submit, we'll let you know if you're good to go, and then we're going to get you paid. If it's not done, then it's returned to you and you have to make those edits. So I have to wrap up in the next couple minutes, but does anyone have any questions on any part of this commissions tab? All right. Well, guys, that is what I have today. Let me see. I saw in chat. Oh, thanks, Syed. Thanks for jumping on. So the next class is going to be coming on, so please make sure you're connecting for that. Joe Bonaduce from Movement Mortgage, he's going to be having his class. but that is prepping to get paid. Make sure you're submitting early and often and you're submitting your commission tab. But if you have any questions or need help with this at all, please feel free to contact me. Our Do-Fi team also knows all about these parts of the system, so they can also assist. We went over all of it, so they know what to do. So if you ever need help, reach out to me, reach out to the Do-Fis, and we'll support you and help you in any way we can. Thank you everyone for jumping on, and I'll talk to everybody soon.
Thanks, Colleen.
Thanks, Janine. Have a great day, guys.
You too.